But with culture, it's different because people do have a strong sense of being rooted in a land, in a territory, framed by a certain legal system, a language, a historical background. So you cannot just do away with all of that and just have a purely abstract individual. I think even in the case of religion, you cannot do completely away with the fact that Canada was heavily Christian and that the people who settled Canada and created Canada were primarily Christian. So historically, that is a fact. You cannot just do away with it and say, oh, well, it doesn't matter. We are not Christian anymore, therefore we will pretend that we were not in the past. Yeah. So that sense of heritage and identity, I don't think you can just get rid of it. It's there historically. And it continues to be, as I just said, in terms of language, legal system, mannerisms, the way you look, all of that is still there. So in the case of, to go back to Trudeau, he wanted to make it a private affair, and I think he was wrong about that. But also, I think it's important, and I argue this point in my book, that Trudeau was not just against Quebecois nationalism, but against the Anglo identity of Canada. When the commission, I forget now, the one in the early 1960s that I talk about here, went all over Canada, they came to the conclusion that Canada is a bicultural nation. We are Anglo and we are Quebecois. And that was the sense in which people were accommodating themselves to the fact that, okay, we Anglos kind of dominated everything outside Quebec, and we used to dominate Montreal and so on, but now we recognize, yes, the French heritage, so we are both, we are bicultural. And Trudeau didn't want that either, as well. So he went for multiculturalism to get rid of even any notion of bicultural identity, whereas I think that would have been the way to go.
And get rid of British Commonwealth.
Yeah.
That's probably his biggest downfall.
That's a good point. And we would argue it's like extreme multiculturalism now. So,
Oh, yeah.
so I guess they're trying to get rid of the Quebecers too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They
It started with the Anglophone, now the
they
Quebecers.
pick you.
So
They pick you to all
This is-
intents and purposes. It's
Yeah.
just multiple.
this is a sick agenda, everyone.
Yeah.
It's basically New World Order, UN globalist village. These politicians in Ottawa are just puppet minions of these corporate globalists, and that's what's going on. So you better wake up, because this is going to be an ugly, ugly country someday. We're going to be divided. Just look at Europe. It's coming. We all know it. We got to fight back and remove those cronies in Ottawa. They're all sellouts.
So you're the only political party that's even addressed Ricardo's work, as far as you know? Because I haven't heard anything about.
Well, it's integral to our policies. When I read Professor Duchesne's book, it was like it was in like perfect alignment.
Yeah.
And he reached out to me, because he's not on the media. We're not on the media, but he did reach out to me, and it was an incredible piece of work, brave work, courageous work, and we actually learned from your work. We actually updated some of our policies. It helped my arguments too.
Yeah.
Because understanding legislation that you went into, like I mentioned, actually it was the 1986 Appointment Equity Act, and I should make a
Right.
memo though. It actually was the 1988 Canadian Multiculturalism Act.
Yeah.
Both passed by conservatives. These socialist doctrines,
Yeah.
horrendous, everyone. But we can't make it any clearer today, can we, Professor Duchesne? The threats here. You got to decide, the Canadian people. Do you want to live in have your culture stripped away, have the heritage stripped away of Canada, the identity, and just live in a globalist village where you're all divided? You're just consumers and taxpayers, because that's what's coming.
We don't even get to say how they're going.
That's what's coming. And this is a sick, twisted, evil agenda. I would call it evil, what they're doing to our country. It's just it's so anti-human, and and it's so unfair to the majority population.
Right. Yeah.